All right. We have a new team joining the graveyard this week, and you know, it brings me no joy. I'm lying. It brings me joy to put the Kansas City Chiefs in the graveyard. They are in the graveyard. If I would have told you coming into the season that the Chiefs would be in the graveyard before the Carolina Panthers, everybody would laugh at you.
Panthers fans would
With
not. Panther
100,
fans would not. Panther fans would be
no, Panthers fans would believe it,
they would have they
and
probably yeah.
they've done a great job every single week. I don't know if you've seen this tweet. They tweet. There's a tweet, like a meme format of it's of John Daly and Tiger Woods talking on a putting green, and Tiger is like all professional and like looks the part, and John Daly's got his big belly and he's smoking a cigar
Yes, I
and
think I
he's
have
wearing
seen
a
that.
bright blue shirt. And every single week, Panthers fans have tweeted that with the Panthers logo on John Daly and the Chiefs logo on Tiger Woods, and the records have just been like really similar all year. Yes, Panthers fans would not be surprised by this whatsoever. They've been really high in their team, but I pretty much everyone in the NFL would be surprised with the way that this has gone. Kansas City is our newest team in the graveyard. Sadly, they are joining what is now a list of. We have now 13 teams in the graveyard. So a bunch of teams left, but more teams to follow, especially with 2 weeks left in the season. I think a ton of teams will be on Graveyard Watch next week. None are on Graveyard Watch this week, though, as there are no teams left off, and that will move us into Tier 6. And starting with Tier 6, we have a new team dropping down to Tier 6, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Sadly, their season is over from a playoff perspective, but I don't think this team is dead by really any means. I think they're going to play with a lot of heart and a lot of fight these final 2 weeks, albeit against the Commanders and Giants. And they deserve to still be on the pyramid. They've struggled this season in a ton of games defensively, and they had that struggle again against the Chargers. Justin Herbert throws for 300 yards. He was terrific. Omarion Hampton has a great game. Um, Dallas loses the Micah Parsons trade, I would argue personally, because they really tanked an MVP level season from Dak Prescott. You hope that you could continue to get that going, that kind of play going forward, and it's really been positive the way the last 5 seasons have gone for the NFL in terms of quarterbacks, where Matthew Stafford is still playing an MVP level. Tom Brady was playing an MVP level. Drew Brees. I mean, Philip Rivers comes back and he's 44 and still playing. Aaron Rodgers is 42 and still playing. So for Dak, with the way that he has been able to play this year, I think there's hope to, hey, maybe next year they turn around in Dallas, but also maybe at some point he gets out of this damn contract or they trade him. And like Chromie is saying in the chat, and a lot of people we have said this year, Dak Prescott is freed of the Dallas Cowboys. I can already tell you that um, the Minnesota Vikings are calling to trade for Dak Prescott, and their fan base is calling for that. They have Dak Prescott and Minnesota Vikings edit. So JJ9 for Dak Prescott. Who says no? I'll ask Chromie in the chat, see how he feels about that trade.
There's no that wouldn't
Um,
work though because O'Connor is it O'Connor there, right? The head coach?
O'Connell.
O'Connell, thank you. His thing is to take reclaim projects, right? Kind of like and refurbish them. You kind of like you go to a yard sale and you get a piece of furniture and then you repaint it and you sand it down. Like that's what he does. I don't think Dak really fits that criteria of needing to be fixed up. I feel like he's already like that'd be like going to IKEA and getting a nice piece of furniture that's already ready to go.
I maybe with what he's going to deal with on Christmas Day with Max Brosmer, I think he would probably sign up for Dak Prescott going forward. Um, we shall see. Free Dak. Hashtag free Dak. The Colts stay where they are. I thought they were really competitive in this game. Like for them to move the ball offensively the way they did against Robert Saleh, and I don't care what pieces are missing on that defense. For Philip Rivers, like to play like that on the brightest stage, and yes, potentially his final pass in the NFL is a pick six, which who would have thought that, that might be a trivia question going forward for Philip Rivers. But they played really well offensively. Of course, they were terrible defensively. Brock Purdy had 5 touchdown passes. And then Tampa Bay and Carolina. I think of course, Carolina fans would argue, oh, why the fudge are we with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And the answer is because they're on the same tier, they would be a pick 'em on a neutral field. And so if Carolina's at home, let's say they have a 3-point advantage playing at home. Well, what was the score of Buccaneers Panthers? Panthers 23, Bucks 20. The Pyramid got exactly what it expected. And so there should be no movement between the two teams. And that's why they'll stay where they're at. Right now, Carolina, it does not matter what happens this week. They can win this week. And as long as the Buccaneers beat the Dolphins in Miami, which given the way Cincinnati performed, I think you think that's likely with Quinn Ewers starting another game. Week 18 decides the division between Tampa Bay and Carolina, even if Carolina beats Seattle this weekend. So that it's a critical game, Week 18, and will be must-see television in Tampa Bay. Moving on to Tier 5. The Detroit Lions stay where they're at. But moving up next to them is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the way that they performed in that game, it is like, look, I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers guy, and I have been pretty much all my life. It is so refreshing to see him playing in meaningful football games. Like his 2 years in New York, he never played in a meaningful football game. He took 3 snaps in a meaningful football game against the Buffalo Bills and then pops his Achilles. But other than that, like there was never a belief in the second year when he returned that, oh, the Jets are going to make the playoffs. No, he was just playing out there to play. Now in Pittsburgh, like he's playing in meaningful playoff games down the stretch, and the dude has been unbelievable. Like even though he's been hampered, these last 3 weeks and their 3 wins, 284 yards against the Baltimore Ravens, 224 against Miami on Monday night, and then 266 against the Detroit Lions. Sadly for Pittsburgh, DK Metcalf is a complete Dumbo and decided to slap a fan, which makes sense considering what college he went to. He's suspended for the final 2 weeks, and that's going to be critical. Pittsburgh, if you had to guess the spread, they are in Cleveland. What's the spread this weekend?
Pittsburgh -1.5.
It's -3.5, so a little more pessimistic. I don't necessarily disagree though.
Yeah,
That's where the Pyramid's going to lean
they
because we
just
picked the
lost their only
graveyard
wide
team
receiver.
anyway. Exactly.
Pat Freiermuth is
It's
going
going
to
to be Adam
this week.
or Adam Thielen, one of the two.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah.
Either way, it's not going to be a good look, and that's against Cleveland and that defense. Cleveland is a top 2 passing defense in the league, and with the struggles that Pittsburgh has had running the football, I think Myles Garrett might set the sack record. Now, it may not matter because if Baltimore loses in Green Bay, Pittsburgh's already won the division. And so if that happens, I would advise personally, do not play Aaron Rodgers against the Cleveland Browns because that is a recipe for him potentially getting hurt against Myles Garrett. And instead, I don't know if you know, but play Mason Rudolph against Myles Garrett. And yes, if you can
There's
remember
no
the
way.
last time
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph started a game in Cleveland as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, we could see something like that where Myles Garrett gets to set the sack record against Mason Rudolph. That would be incredible. But Baltimore has to lose to Green Bay for that to happen. And speaking of Baltimore, they're on Tier 5 with their performance. I really wanted to drop them a tier lower, but I don't think they deserve to be on the tier with these teams below them. I still think there's some performances in them, and I think they're going to play with a ton of fire against Green Bay. I think that game is going to be really close and competitive. And then the Houston Texans drop in large part not because of the way that they performed, although it was not great. They almost lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith kind of cooked them, if you didn't know. And Ashton Genty was incredible against that defense. Geno goes for 201 and 2 touchdowns, but Ashton Jeanty has 188 total yards and 2 touchdowns. A great day offensively for Las Vegas. Concern going forward with the way Chargers are playing offensively for Saturday's game. And so I'm dropping them, but it's in large part to the teams on tier 4, which you can go ahead and place. Tier 4, the Jaguars and the 49ers have jumped up to tier 4. They were really, really impressive this past weekend. Jacksonville beating Denver, which is why Denver is dropped with them. Winning that way on the road. Trevor Lawrence has 300 total yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. In the past 12 games, quarterbacks in Denver are 0-12, have 13 touchdowns and 16 turnovers, and Trevor was perfect. 4 touchdowns, no turnovers in that game. And then San Francisco, offensively, you have to give them a ton of credit. CMC has been incredible. He's been somehow continuing to stay healthy. George Kittle, since his return, has been really, really good. They're still missing their weapons at receiver, but Brock Purdy was really dynamic. 5 touchdowns. They could not be stopped against Indianapolis on Monday Night Football. And it makes the Sunday Night Football game against Chicago really, really interesting. Which, speaking of Chicago, we moved to Tier 3, and Chicago has joined Tier 3 with the New England Patriots and the Green Bay Packers. I think it's very easy to say that with the way the Bears and Packers have looked over the 2 games in the last 3 weeks, those teams are pretty much on the same level, I'd argue. And then New England. New England deserves to stay where they're at, even though there's been some debate over if they're overrated or not. This is where I have them rated personally. And tell me who you're putting above the New England Patriots, because there's no one below them that I think that deserves the right to be above them. The teams that they've lost to, of course, the Las Vegas Raiders, elite team, week 1, and then they've lost to Buffalo, and their other loss is to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was also in week 2, or week 3, I should say. They deserve to be right here. They are really, really talented, and power ranking wise, playoff experience doesn't necessarily matter as much in this. Tier 2 will spoil what Tier 1 is going to be, and you can go ahead and put up Tier 1 because of it. With the result on Thursday with Seattle and the Los Angeles Rams, Seattle is the best team in the NFL right now, and they are on top of the pyramid. In the 2 games against the Rams, the first one, Sam Darnold has 4 turnovers, and yet they had a game-winning field goal opportunity that was missed. In the second game, he's terrible for the better part of 3 quarters, and yet they lead a 16-point comeback, force overtime, and complete a 2-point conversion to win the game. Seattle, I think, is better than Los Angeles, and so because of that, they deserve every right to be at the top of the pyramid, and that is your pyramid for week 16. After week 16, we got 2 more weeks to go.
Yeah, I would call it the week 17 pyramid, right? Because it's
Week
like
17, yeah.
because like think about the AP poll, it comes out and it's the week 2 rankings and it's going into week 2. So I would call it the week 17 pyramid, but that's not super important. One thing I wanted to, so this isn't a critique, it's more just a talking point. So you talked about the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, him leaving, him staying. A lot of conversations about that. You're a State guy, you're a Dak guy, as am I. But also, I was just curious. It feels like Dak hasn't really ever put together back-to-back seasons like this. He's had MVP caliber seasons before. I would say 2023, threw for nearly 5,000 yards and 39 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. He's had other great years. 2021, 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. But it feels like it's always like he's going to put together a season that in a down year could win MVP, and then next year he's going to be like QB 13 through 17, QB 13 through 21. And I don't know if you would agree with that. I'm just going to kind of rattle through what I'm talking about. So like his rookie season, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4,000 yards. Year 2, I would call it a step back, 22 touchdowns, less touchdowns, more picks. Year 3, step back up, more touchdowns, less picks. Year 4, he adds some touchdowns, but also throws a couple more picks. Year 5, I believe he has an injury. Year 6, 38 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Then he steps back, 28 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Step back up, 39 and 11. Injury, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And then this year, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. It just feels like he hasn't really ever put together back to back years. Um, and maybe there's something desirable in that consistency. I mean, he's never gone 2 bad years back to back either. But I don't know what your thoughts are there.
I think a lot of it's explainable if you just go through them.
Yeah.
Like for him to perform the way he did his rookie year, and for them to be the number 2 overall seed, and the only reason they lose is because they lose a tough one to the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers was terrific down the stretch. That's the only reason they lose that game. He was unbelievable his rookie year. His second year, he's not good, but they have tape on him now. He started 16 games the year prior, so now they know his tendencies. Okay, he evolves, and his next 2 years, he actually has fine years. They aren't good from a record wise. The 2020 year, it feels like, okay, now he's finally made it's his 5th year. He's signed already his contract, his second contract. He has the brutal ankle injury. That's the COVID year. He comes back 37-10 from that. The following year, I think personally, is due to the head coaching hire and the new play calling. That's Mike McCarthy's first year, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a change in play calling. That's a change in system from Jason Garrett and others. And he also misses games that year. He only plays 12 games. The following year, he's finally comfortable with Mike McCarthy, and he has his MVP year. They're the number 2 seed, and then they get shocked by the Green Bay Packers. Then he was hurt again last year. And although he was not good in those 8 games prior, I think there's stuff to explain it.
Yeah.
A lot of what I hate a ton about it, and I'm really thankful that he was drafted as a Cowboy, and because if he wasn't drafted as a Cowboy, I don't think he may never get the opportunity to be the starting quarterback, because Tony Romo gets hurt and he gets to get popped in as a 6th-round pick. If he doesn't get that opportunity, a 4th-round pick. I don't remember off the top of my head. 4th or 6th, one of the two. I may have just double-crossed myself.
I
Anyway.
think it's 6th. I think it's 6th-round pick. Hold on, I can tell you. 4th.
Fourth round pick.
Wow.
4th-round pick.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fake
okay.
fans we
I was
are,
right in
yes.
my judgment. No, it's fine. Because he was given that opportunity, he got to show up that he was a starter, got a second contract, got paid so much money, which he has earned every penny with everything that he's gone through, everything that he's given back to the community, to his family, to Starkville, to state. I would never be more thankful for that. But for the better part of the 5-6 years now, it has been, I don't put too much blame on him. And I hate how much the national media puts blame on him, but it's because he's a Cowboys quarterback. But it's Jerry Flippin' Jones. It's Jerry. It's the head coaching hires. It's hiring head coaches that you can control and that don't have, vocal leadership abilities in Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy and now with Brian Schottenheimer. And although the locker room was great this year with Schottenheimer in wins, he's not the vocal leader. You're trading away Micah Parsons. What are we doing here? You are delaying so many times, delaying contract extensions with CeeDee Lamb and Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott 2 different times, and now Micah Parsons, that you are disrupting relationships within the building. You're disrupting the locker room culture. You are having CeeDee Lamb actively essentially say, just pay them. And still you won't pay them. And that's just angst between your owner and your locker room. So I get it. He's had poor seasons, but I don't think a lot of quarterbacks could handle and go through and still be successful with that kind of owner and that kind of organization. I think that is a testament to Dak Prescott and his career so far.